Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has decided to suspend his run to primary Joe Biden and instead declared himself as an independent candidate for the 2024 presidential election. He is running against those smug elites. Does anybody want to tell him about the last name Kennedy? I'm not saying that they're smug, but they're elites. The irony is just... Spirit has a sense of humor. It just hurts sometimes. Irony can be painful. Anyways, the Republicans are aghast because I think they a lot of conservative broadcasters and such had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on their shows, and they pumped him up. And which means that his conspiracy theories, his anti-vax theories, his anti-Semitic opinions on things that resonate with the far right and the ultra right wing conservatives, it's been aired and it's out there. So there are people who maybe want to vote for Trump but don't want to go through all that drama, might vote for Kennedy instead. The Democrat polling, now mind you, polling for what it is, because part of the problem with polling is that young people don't answer the polls. If you get a caller unknown or a text message, you're not going to answer it. Anyways, polling would suggest that he would actually give Trump a small advantage. It's early on, so we'll see what happens here. But the Trump camp is getting ready to go after him, apparently, which means that their polling suggests that he's a bigger detriment to Team Trump than he is to Team Biden. Okay, so all sorts of energy going on with this. It's a welcome break from what's going on in Israel and Hamas. But let's find out, what's the energy around Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? By the way, his family are not supporting this run. They're basically saying that he has Robert F. Kennedy's name, but he doesn't have the values or the vision of his father. Page of Cups. This is him. That's funny because he's not a young man, but you can think of Robert F. Kennedy as being a young man with a vision, looking at the world differently, and wanting to change the world to fit his vision. However, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's trying to emulate that, but his different vision is conspiracy theories. His different vision is anti-science. It truly is the antithesis of what his dad was. And, you know, it's funny in some ways, crossing with the Eight of Swords, the American public and the voting public might be stuck with this guy. But in some ways, and I'll be curious to see if this works itself out in a spiritual sense, it's almost like he feels stuck with the Kennedy name. You know, I'm a Kennedy and I'm trapped, and the only thing I can be is a liberal or a progressive. And I think he's trying to buck that trend. He's trying to break free of the Kennedy mold, and he's going to be different. He's going to be the Kennedy that fights against the elites, even though he comes from an elite family. He's going to be the Kennedy that challenges science and embraces conspiracy theories, because I don't know why you would do those things, but he feels the need to do that. But there's going to be judgment here. He will be judged on what he says. He will be judged on what he does. It's interesting, though. I think his call will resonate with certain people, with cult members, as it were. The cult of MAGA. Some people will embrace him. I really do think he will pull votes away from Trump. In the past, we have the Fool card. He is jumping, he jumped into the race to challenge Biden. I think people were excited for a little bit until he opened his mouth and told us who he was. And then, not very excited anymore. Because despite the fact that, he's got the Kennedy name, he doesn't have the Kennedy values. And not that all Kennedys need to have the same values, but he's a wackadoodle. Lack of a better description. Entertainment purposes only. He's getting ready to step off the cliff, but he's going to step off the cliff in spectacular fashion. Current situation, 10 of Wands. He wasn't making inroads with the Democratic Party because his viewpoints don't resonate with the Democrats in the Democratic Party. So he needs to change things up. If he's going to make his march to the presidency using his new ideas and his odd ideas, he has to do something different. Again, there might be a thing here where he's trying to unburden himself from being tied to the Kennedys. And it's a hard thing to undo. Actually, I'll do that as a second reading on this one, and I'll come back to that. So he now announces his new course of action, his new way of doing things. He's going to run as an independent, and he's going to make his march for the White House. His little Teddy Roosevelt here. The lesson to be learned is the Queen of Pentacles. He's trying to present himself. Again, when you're going against those smug elites, he's going to try and present himself as an everyday man. The family has some money. I don't know what his personal wealth is. Maybe one of his advantages is that he has the ability to fundraise because of the legacy of the family name to make him something of a viable independent candidate. But I would be curious to see what the money situation is like for him going forward. The outcome is the Five of Pentacles being left out in the cold. His campaign, he's not going to win. He's not even there to win. He's acting as more of a spoiler than anything else. And maybe he's trying to leverage something for himself by announcing this campaign. But he's going to be a spoiler, and people are going to lose. Votes that he gets would have gone to other candidates. Now, there's nothing wrong with a three-party system, and I wouldn't say that you're throwing away your votes with voting on Kennedy, but the reality is that it's more of a protest vote than anything else. I guess it really depends. What's really going to make the difference here is in swing states where his influence actually makes a difference. So you don't need to look at the 10% of the vote or 15% of the vote he would get throughout the country. It's in swing states where the votes are close, who's leaning towards him, who would be voting towards him, and who would those votes be coming away from. Again, judgment. People will be attracted to him by his point of views. Now, I was going to back this up. Let's look at this from an aspect of him trying to break his ties with the Kennedy family. So here you go, the Kennedy family, young people, strange ideas, but he feels tied to that. He wants to be his own Kennedy. He doesn't want to be a Kennedy of the history books. He wants to be the modern day Kennedy. So he's going to break with his family and go on his own journey to show that, the Robert F. Kennedy of the 1960s is not the same as the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of the 2020s. But breaking away from the family is a burden because they're lack of a better description, American royalty. The Kennedy family is well known. They are popular with the Democrats. They have a great legacy. There's a great story that goes along with the presidency of John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy running for president, and both brothers being killed. And there's a mystique and a legacy with the family. Not to mention Teddy Kennedy being a senator from Massachusetts for decades, and other members of the family have run in government offices and such. But he wants to set himself, as he moves away from that burden, he's going to be his own man. Now he's taking his walk. He's going to be his own man with his own message. He's going to walk his own path. But the problem is, he got there on the legacy of others, and it's a burden to shed that legacy. That's what he has to do. I mean, in order to be his own person, he has to work really hard to shed the legacy of what his family stands for. And the outcome is that he probably does a really good job of shedding the family legacy to the point where he's not really welcome as part of the family legacy. His 4 siblings have all spoken out against him and against this campaign that he's running. I'm not saying he won't be invited to Christmas dinner and Thanksgiving, but if he's expecting any type of support from the family or access to the family wealth or the family influence, he's when you want to go on your own and set your own path, you lose access to the family wealth. Again, his belief system will be judged. It just, his belief system will resonate with people. It absolutely resonates with people. But are these the people that you want to connect with? Are these the people that will support your cause? Are you Mr. Right? Or are you Mr. Right now? That kind of thing. Okay. Let's find out how things are likely to go here. Okay. Thank you for letting me do a dual read on that same spread. It's one of the interesting things that I have come across with tarot is that, that same reading it's very nuanced and multi-layered, and it can describe different aspects of your life that might be overlapping, and it's not obvious. It's almost like how you have dreams, and the dreams are kind of weird, but if you sit down and interpret it, you might be able to connect it with something that's going on in your life, even though your life has one thing and your dreams something wild on something else, but there could be overlap. I do come across that when I do tarot readings for people, like how, when you have pentacles and you have wealth and health, and how the two seem to be on parallel tracks. Okay. I'm going to do a challenge, a 4x4 battle royale here. Kennedy's message. How will it resonate with Democrats? How will it resonate with Republicans? What's the overall message? This new journey that he's beginning, this new vision, this new thing that he's putting forward here. How's that going to resonate with Democrats? Oh God, those cards look familiar, don't they? How's it going to resonate with... Oh God! Okay. Well, I think it's pretty obvious which one's going to resonate where. Oh, that's an interesting card underneath. Okay, so what's Kennedy's thing? It's his new path. It's his new path. It's his new vision. Here comes Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Get ready for me, world. The Empress. Now, that could be that, he's got his vision of how he thinks the world should take care of himself. It would not surprise me even a little bit if you found out there was some Russian influence involved in his campaign. Just saying. Kind of that Russian disinformation stuff to try and take Biden down. Now, over here, Democrats. How are the Democrats going to view it? Their main message is the Three of Pentacles. So that could be dark money. That could be money behind the scenes. They could be investigating who's financing them. But I think it's also the Democrats strategizing with the Biden camp and maybe the other Kennedys of, okay, how do we handle this? How do we protect Joe Biden? How do we protect the Kennedys? And how do we weaponize this against Team Trump? Central underneath it is the Five of Pentacles. Again, I think the Democrats realize that he's a lost cause to the Democratic Party. Even his family, here we go with the burden card. His positions with being anti-vax and having anti-Semitic things would have been a huge burden to the Democratic Party. He's a Kennedy after all, and you've worked with the Kennedys for decades. But this was going to be something that was going to be really difficult. How do you make the choice? Who do you support? But now they don't have to make that choice. He's made it for them. So they could just, they can wash their hands of him. They will move away from him and just calmly go there. And, again, I think they're going to weaponize how to take this guy's proclamation and advance it. And I think they will look at money sources for him. And that might be something that comes up, that might come up in attack ads later. In swing states where it looks like the Democratic candidate would be under, swing states where Biden might be under a little more assault from this guy. How are the Republicans viewing him? Well, he's a star, baby. What a coup. You got a Kennedy that wants to be a Republican. Not only that, as I mentioned earlier, he was on all sorts of right-wing talk shows, podcasts, so on and so forth. So they made a media darling out of him and really presented him to the Republican base. But now he's gone. He's gone and declared his independent candidacy, which I think originally they wanted. But for this case, the moon card are the unforeseen consequences of getting what you want. Sound like Roe v. Wade? Yeah, congratulations. You got what you always wanted, overturning Roe v. Wade. Now what? Okay, so the unintended consequences are coming, and as they are realized, this is going to cause some nightmare situations for the GOP, because now if he actually starts taking away votes from Trump in swing states, that's going to swing those to Biden and sealing their fate. Not to mention, Trump's not happy that this guy's running as an independent. So now Trump is attacking the guy that these guys were touting as a star. So it's going to cause all sorts of confusion with the Republican Party base. Yeah, so there we go again. As I talk my way through it, the moon card is the Republican base. I was saying, how unintended consequences, the base don't know who to vote for. They don't know who to root for because they're being told this guy's a star, and then Trump wants to get rid of him because, he's eating into Trump's lead. So now we have this nightmare scenario where you're telling them, you should love this guy, he's a star, but don't vote for him because, Democrats should vote for him, even though we like him. It is really, really hard to be a Republican. It's really hard to be a MAGA supporter because you have to wait for people to tell you what to think. And before they do that, you have all these strong feelings until you're told not to have those strong feelings anymore. It must be really hard to just, never know where you stand. So, again, in some ways, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does really well in some swing states, and he's going to be pulling Republican votes away. I don't think the Republicans are looking at him as this is the guy that's going to get Trump elected. I think they're starting to understand that they have to now fight this guy off. He's a star, and he has advantages that we gave him, and now our nightmare scenario is coming forward. Oy vey. Well, that's what you get. Now, hopefully I'm accurate with this, because he could very well pull votes from the Democrats. I suspect many people on my channel are not the ones who would be voting for him, and generally speaking, when I've done... keep saying generally speaking. When I've done videos on Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the past, the comments pretty much have been echoing my reading and my thoughts on it, which is he's not a strong candidate as a Democrat, and he's kind of Looney Tunes. And you occasionally get the person in there, not many, but one person or two, I wouldn't call them trolls, well, maybe they are trolls, will come in there and say, oh, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is amazing. And they're Trumpers. They're total QAnon Trumpers. So, yeah, he's going to be a nightmare for them. And I'm here for it. This is just, their psyops are now starting to blow up in their face. And I'm okay with that because they're not very good at it. They were good for a while, and now that things are a bit nuanced, basically they're like Dr. Frankenstein. He's lost control of the monster, and the monster is the MAGA crowd. Okay, so keep an eye on it. It's still a while before the election comes up, but it'll be interesting as the election nears what his impact starts to manifest as far as what it might do with the polls. It'll be interesting to watch the attacks on him, because the attacks are inevitable, right? But who are they coming from, and what are they attacking? Thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your likes, your shares, and your comments, and everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to a wider range of viewers. And to the new viewers who found me because of that interaction, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Take care.